Ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to the Wednesday Week, the Sheffield Wednesday podcast. I'm Lord Hillsborough, and on the line with me today is Mr. Beaste. Hello there, Mr. Beaste.
Season's greetings, your lordship, and to everybody in podcast land.
Season's greetings. It's not even the first week of December.
It's December.
Greetings.
It's December, and that is soon enough.
Oh, Beastie, oh boy, you disappoint me. There's a young lady, I say across the way, from my manor here, and she put her Christmas decorations up just after Halloween, and I was quite tempted to send Jesus over to tear them down. It's ridiculous.
Well, in my opinion, that's a little bit too late. You can never have Christmas too early. Everybody loves Christmas. I love it more than anybody else in the world. And I'll tell you what we should do on the podcast. What we need is something really festive to lift this program throughout December. And I insist that you get Jeeves down into your basement with some cards, some sticky back plastic, some scissors, and he makes us a Wednesday week podcast advent calendar.
A Wednesday week podcast advent calendar? Oh, right. Well, bear with me 1 month, please, Beastie. Jeeves, old boy, you heard the button. Jump to it!
The Wednesday Week Advent Calendar!
Ooh, what's behind door number 1? Here's Beastie having a Christmas moan.
This is a special time of year, right? This Christmas, I absolutely love Christmas. Let me tell you about Christmas. It's fabulous. It's fabulous for all of us. You get your presents, and your kids get to see the fat bloke. No, not me. And it's not Ozzy. I mean the proper fat bloke, the one in red. I mean Santa. It's the only time that any of us like red. It's absolutely fantastic, right? But it's also about the sweet baby Jeebus, right? The sweet baby Jeebus, whose surname was Christ, right? He was the lad of Christ. He was that lad at Christ's, right? Mr. and Mrs. Christ, that were his lad. That were their lad, right? And I don't know if anybody's noticed, but Christ is spelt with a CH, like in Christmas. Christmas, believe it or not, it's the same, right? That's where we get Christmas from, not chuffing Xmas. Any of you lazy asses out there that want to spell Christmas with an X, right, you can sod off, right? If you start spelling Christmas, right, with an X, then you aren't entitled to enjoy Christmas. If you're too lazy to spell it properly, then don't come to Christmas. You shouldn't be allowed to partake in it at all because it's full of goodness and Xmas isn't. Now sod off. Oh, and season's greetings to everybody.
So, Beastie, it's been another interesting week for the Wednesday. Of course, somewhat of a loss down there at Cardiff. Chaps fought hard. However, Beastie, I'm sure the folks at home have noticed, it just seems to be you and me here at the moment. But you did have a little chat with the Fudge Meister earlier on in the week. Fudge did actually go to the game. So what we're going to do, chaps, I mean, obviously we don't want to tiddle on Fudge's parade, so we're going to cut to a little session that Beastie did earlier on in the week with Mr. Fudge over there.
Hang on. I would like to tiddle on his parade, actually.
Tiddle away, old boy, tiddle away.
So, do you want to talk a bit about the Cardiff game?
Go on then, because you were there, weren't you?
I was there in the wrong end, yes.
How did you end up in the wrong end?
Well, what I did, one of my good mates is a Cardiff fan. He still references them as the Bluebirds, but I don't think they're called that anymore.
No.
And
does he have a very strong Welsh accent?
He does.
Well, in that case, it is the law that you have to get him at every opportunity to say, 2 hoots! That's the law.
I can't stop it. Right, Yorkshire people are renowned for saying love and duck. Yeah, we say that when we go out and about. We say, all right, love, a couple of beers. Do you know what I mean? That sort of stuff. But I got called on no less than 4 occasions on that Sunday, Bat or Batty, and not. Nobody seems to pick up on that. They call everybody a sandwich.
Yeah, that sounds a little bit worse from where I'm listening.
Yeah. And also while I was there, I also learnt a bit of Welsh as well.
Oh, go on then.
Yeah, I also know that exit is Alan, and bar is bar.
Oh, right. Well, that'll come in handy then, really, won't it?
So I learnt some Welsh.
So you can stick that alongside all the Spanish that you've learned, like
Well,
that
yeah,
Barcelona Bay.
Now I'm super European. You know what I mean?
Well, I learnt that when a policeman says, it means shift. In Welsh.
Yeah.
They don't have many vowels, do they?
Actually, what I did, I went through to the club shop, and I've seen this before. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, or if you knew in the past, or you know the story behind this. But when I was in the club shop with my friend, there was a Cardiff City shirt there. Obviously, it was blue, but it had the same logo on the front as Super Ted had on his back in the 80s. I'll upload you a picture. I don't know the story behind it, so if there's anybody out there that knows the story behind why they had the Super Ted logo on the front of their shirt.
Because it's Welsh.
Oh, he's Super Ted Welsh, is he?
Yeah, it's Welsh, yeah. It were all formed down there. The studios were down there, weren't they?
Oh, right, because I was having a chat with somebody the other day about why Fireman Sam's not Welsh anymore.
I didn't even know he wasn't Welsh anymore. Is it not in Pontypandy anymore?
He's still in Pontypandy,
right.
But he's not got the strong Welsh accent, and I'm sure that woman doesn't go Norman anymore.
I like how you actually said it. Pontypandy.
Pontypandy. You can't even say it properly. And I also noticed they start a lot of their sentences with the term "what it is." I do like that.
Well, as the young'un said to me when we were walking around and looking at all these street signs and everything, she says, countdown must be a breeze in Wales. How can you not fail to make a 9-letter word in Welsh?
Can I have a consider?
How many you got? 9.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got 9. Oh, it's another tie.
I've got another 9. Oh, what have you got, Baffin? Oh, I've got.
Well, mine's slightly different. Mine's.
So what about football, Beaste, anyway? What did you think?
I thought, I mean, listening to some of the fans again, they're still not happy, but I thought it was an improved performance of Leicester and Watford, definitely. And even, nobody wants to see us lose, do they? Right?
No.
We losing 1-0 or 10-0, it hurts. But I took a lot of pleasure, if you like, watching that game, because I thought we played really well. And as good as Cardiff are, bear in mind, I think they're just about the best side that we've seen this season, and I'm pretty confident that this is their season for going up. I thought we held them off really, really well, and it reminded me a bit of when you hold a kid at arm's length and they're taking swings at you. Right? I thought that's what we were doing to them, and we were just holding them out long enough, but eventually, with 10 minutes to go, they caught us with one hit plums, didn't they?
Well, I think this is it. I don't think we deserve to win it. If I'm honest, it was a pretty, like you said, staunch performance. We sat there. We said, right, we're just going to stop them because, like you said, they are one of the best teams in the league. So we'll just stop them. We'll stop them playing football and we'll stop them coming at it. And we did it well. It was nice to see David Prutton. He got booked. Surprise, surprise. But yeah, like David Prutton had a turnout. Jay Bothroyd was injured. It'd have been nice to see. I'd have been intrigued to see Jay Bothroyd play at Cardiff. Actually, I must admit, but yeah, it wasn't a groundbreaker of a performance, but I think it was holding them back was what we set out to do, and I thought we did it well. Daft it sounds, it wasn't a park the bus performance, but you could see what our game plan was, if that makes sense.
That's exactly bang on the money. Is that it wasn't a park the bus performance, which is what, especially the fans who were listening to it on radio. Because it was on Radio 5, and they were saying it seemed like we were under the cosh all the time. Well, they had a fair bit of possession in Cardiff, but we just held them back pretty comfortably, I thought. And bear in mind, we've lost this game. It was possibly one of the best defensive performances that we've put in. And
yes, I think it's a good point
just how well our defence did, because you know as well as I do, we've been at the receiving end of some pretty poor defensive errors over the last 10, 15 games. Do you know what I mean? And it wasn't really a massive defensive error that we lost the game to.
Well, it won't. And just look at the quality that they've got in that side.
Yeah,
they're absolutely fantastic all over the pitch. And any team that's got Craig Bellamy in it, you're onto a winner when right from off, aren't you?
Well, this is it. Bellamy and Whittingham are quality players, and they're top-end players in this league, even if not mid-table players in the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? They can kick a ball. And they've got, you look at people like Joe Mason and Rudy Gestede that they've got playing for them as well. These are people with a big future in front of them. And I think we did all right. I think, like you said, there's a lot of positives to get taken out of it. And I wasn't heading for the Allen after 80 minutes.
No, but, well, yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought, as I usually bang on about, I thought the Wednesday fans were outstanding. Made plenty of noise. There weren't many of us, but we made plenty of noise throughout. And a couple of the chants were classics, Are you Wrexham in disguise? And Wrexham, give us a song. I thought they were fantastic. And right at the end, when the players came over to applaud, and we all started singing again, it were really loud, and they'd earned us saluting them like that, especially after the last two games, when the mood's been really different amongst Wednesday fans. This time, we were all together, and it were really nice to be part of that.
So what about David Prutton? Jose Semedo, I think he got injured in training the day before. Got something like a 7-inch gash on his leg or something ridiculous. So, do you think David Prutton should be in there, or what do you reckon? Or would you still prefer Corrie?
Well, I heard you three banging on about Prutton not being good enough at the beginning of the season, but I think I was championing his cause, if I remember right. Everybody that listens to this podcast knows that I always big up our players, and it's you lot that puts them down.
Yeah. Let's ask Danny Jones what he thinks about it, shall we?
I've got to give him his due, Prutton. I mean, when he was announced on the team sheet in the ground, you could hear everybody's jaw drop. Everyone, I mean, most people thought he'd gone. But
I didn't know he'd come back.
Well, that's it. We all thought, that's it, we're never going to see him again. And here he was, playing a key role in the middle of our team. And I thought he did really, really well. Probably just what we needed, fresh face in there, an experienced head, somebody who knows how to communicate with players around him. I thought he did really well.
The Wednesday Week Advent Calendar.
What's in this stuff? Oh, it's Fudge having a sing.
Graham, hide, hide, hide. Graham, hide, hide, hide. Graham, hide, hide, hide. Graham, hide, hide, hide.
By far and away my favourite.
Yeah, and there you go, Beaste boy. There's yourself and Mr. Fudge over there sorting out the Cardiff game. And hard won performance, Beaste. I mean, obviously the result didn't quite go our way, but I mean, we've talked about the grass shoots before and things like that, Beastie. But as I said, it's been done, so we'll leave it there. So do you think Mr. Jones is any safer now then, Beaste boy?
I don't actually. I don't think his position's changed at all. I still think that this next month is the most important month of his career at this club. But more importantly, the next two games are vital, because I think if he doesn't win both games, I think he's going to be on his way.
Now, as we said, Beaste, I mean, obviously it is a rather hot topic at the moment, and we have had a bit of correspondence this week, Beastie. Correspondence! How long have we been doing this show? Finally, we get some correspondence. It's from a chap, Mr. Neil Jarvis. It's actually a Wednesday night over there in New Zealand.
There's no wonder it took a while to get delivered then, really, is there?
Came by a pigeon just yesterday, and the pigeon tasted very nice for my dinner. So basically, Mr. Neil goes on to say, obviously out there in New Zealand, first of all, Beastie, would like to thank you for your fantastic tweets and keeping him informed on match days. He does mention, of course, that some of the match days he does have to get up rather late in the evening, or maybe even early in the morning to follow on the games. But the main bulk of Mr. Jarvis's email, again, was talking about Mr. Jones and the situation that he finds himself in at the moment. And we will pop this email on the website if that's okay with Mr. Jarvis, so everybody can have a good read of it. And by all means, do send us some responses if you would like to. But the main gist of the email is saying that Mr. Jarvis does want to keep Dave Jones for the again rounding up for the simple reason that we've seen this before. Basically, we've seen sacking managers before. We've seen how it works, and this needs to be a team that we're building for the future. Mr. Jones has brought in these young chaps that have been flooding his midfield, and we're looking to build on things now. And basically, Mr. Jarvis says we don't want to go back to sacking managers every year because nothing ever gets built.
Yeah, I mean, I've read Neil's letter. It's a great letter, and it's pretty much how I felt all the way through all this. Hey up, Neil, by the way. But don't get me wrong, I do understand where he's coming from with this. We don't want to go through the old Sheffield Wednesday turnstile of managers where they're in one door and out the other in a matter of weeks. Yeah, I've seen a lot of that, being the age that I am, and it's never good. But I really do take on board what some of the fans are saying about his time's come. I'm not quite there yet, but there is a real groundswell building now amongst the fans that he's had his time, things aren't working out for him, and he's got to move on. Well, let's just see how it goes over the next couple of games, because the next two games are by far the most important two games that we've had in a long time. Certainly as far as Dave Jones goes anyway. These are both winnable games. Right, we've got Bristol City at home. We've got all sorts of turmoil going on at their club. 14 million in debt. Sacking managers left, right and centre, strangely enough. And then we've got Barnsley. They're also struggling. Now, if we cannot beat those two teams, if Dave Jones cannot muster this squad of players to beat those two teams, one home, one away, then I'm sorry. As much as it pains me to say it, I don't think he'll have any comeback to the fans. I don't think he'll have any claim to turn around and say, well, I was unfairly sacked, or I was unfair, I left unfairly. He's got to shoulder that responsibility, and I don't see another way around it.
Well, one of the things, I mean, again, I'm all for backing Dave Jones. I do believe this club does need to build, and we do need to have one person in charge more than 6 months to get that done. But I must admit, Beastie, I was rather disappointed with Mr. Jones this week because, of course, it's become apparent that Mr. Beavers has left us, Beastie. Wednesday legend. I don't think I'm overstating that any. Of course, been with us since he was nothing but a young pup, and he's gone.
Yeah, again, I've watched lyrical about Beavers. Well, not so lyrical about Beavers for quite a while now. He's been a favourite of mine since he first came into the side. And he's the last of that fantastic back four of Simek, Wood, Beavers, Tommy Spur that we all thought were going to take us on to bigger and brighter things. And strangely enough, he's the only one that's playing at this higher level now, I think, isn't he?
Absolutely.
And we happen to let him go now to a team that's higher than us in the same division, one of our rivals. I don't get it, because to me, at the start of this season, he was one of our most consistent performers, and now we decide to let him go. It's all chipping away at my Dave Jones confidence, do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, oh boy.
And I don't know. To me, it's not a good move, right? I know I keep saying to me. I'm going to stop saying to me.
You.
To me,
To you.
You'll have to cut that bit out.
Get enough for copyright, old boy.
Yeah. It just don't sit right letting Beavers go. He's a young lad, and the players that we've got in defence, especially as centre halves, are not young lads. They should be there to bring on the likes of Mark Beavers and help him progress. So if we're bringing in players like Corrie and Mayer and the likes of that to build for the future, why are we letting a good centre half go that can also be built on? That don't make sense to me.
No, I absolutely 100% agree with that, Beastie. I'm terribly sorry to see Mr. Beavers go. Absolute, I'm going to say it again, and people will disagree, absolute legend of Sheffield Wednesday. And of course, like I said, Beastie, only a young boy, but it's amazing how long he seems to have been about the place. But I'm sure Beastie will, and Eddie and Mr. Fudge as well would echo the sentiments. We miss Mr. Beavers all the very best, and personally, we shall miss him very, very terribly.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got nothing but good wishes for Mark Beavers. Let me just tell you what he did. I've spoken about Pact on here before at Sheffield Children's Hospital. But they wanted a couple of footballers to go down there one Christmas and meet the kids. And him and Tommy Spur were down there. The first year, they were sort of asked to do it by the club. The second year, they asked if they could do it.
Fantastic.
Right? They didn't go down there for an hour and just think, that's my duty done. They went down there and they spent all afternoon playing with the kids. They absolutely loved it. And that helped me build, all right, it's not really a bond with him, but it endeared him to me, shall we say.
Absolutely.
That, along with, like you say, his good service to the club. And it's things like that, letting players like him go and not playing certain players, that is really winding fans up about Dave Jones. And I know Neil appreciates all this, and I know he don't want to go down that path again, but, maybe it is right. I think, let's put it this way, we'll find out one way or other whether Milan agrees with us after the next two games, won't we?
The Wednesday Week Advent Calendar.
Oh, what's behind this door? Oh, it's Beastie again, having another Christmas moan.
Oh, while I'm having to think about it, what about arseless trousers? Arseless trousers. Trousers with less arse. Them trousers where the crotch is down by your knees. And it's not an accident. It's not like they're falling down. People buy them like that on purpose. And what gets me is, fat people can still get them. So if you've got a fat ass, why would you buy some trousers where they're saggy, right? Shoehorn your big fat ass into some proper jeans. I mean, when did they become fashionable? Who suddenly decided that having a saggy ass was sexy and trendy? Who decided that looking like an 80-year-old tramp, apart from Keith Hill, was the way to go? It can't be. Look, I understand that these days snake hips are in, and that lads aren't born with arses anymore, and they grow up not having arses. They don't have bellies and they don't have hips anymore. That's evolution. But if women really, really find a saggy 80-year-old arse to turn on these days, then form an orderly queue behind me, ladies, because here's the payoff. It's only going to get better for you as I get older. It used to be that women liked tight buns and a pair of well-filled jeans. Well, that's all gone now. I mean, I don't chuffing think so, lads. Get out there, get onto the market, buy a pair of 10-bob shrinkers, shoehorn yourself into them, butter your arse cheeks up and get them rammed on. Shrink them on so that it fits so tight that your love spuds are screaming at the front. And failing that, just go out and buy yourself a belt or a pair of braces and pull the chuffers up. Oh, and whilst you're at it, buy some chuffing socks as well and a hat that fits your head.
So, Beastie, we've been flooded with correspondence this week. I do believe that you've had somebody get in touch with you with a question for the show.
Yeah, well, I've been waiting for mine to be delivered by Owl, because the first time an owl comes in this house, I'm having him, I'm telling you. Right? He won't get out of here. He'll be in a pie, and that'll be it. From Danny over on Twitter. Danny Slingsby, he asked, he wanted to ask us whether we thought that that those at Sheffield Wednesday managed the club expectations pre-season well enough. We came up on the crest of a wave. Everybody were bubbling, and expectations were really high, especially amongst you three on podcasts. I tried to play it up and down, keep everybody calm, but you wouldn't have it, and you dragged it along here eventually. As far as I can see it. But
Milan
Danny thinks that
didn't have any choice.
he can't really tell
things
people
a little bit better, and
all we're looking for is
maybe
to stay
played
this
it down
season,
a little
because
bit.
If he does that, then
told
people aren't going to buy the season
sort of
tickets.
kept
and
people
they want a big
getting
boost
carried
on
away, if
season
you like.
tickets this season.
But the problem with that is,
and let's be right, as much as everybody likes Milan, that's all he's interested in is the money, and people throw the turnstiles.
Of course.
Or if he was to say anything other than, oh yeah, we're going to have a fantastic season, we're going to build on this and we're going to move forward, then he's shooting himself in foot. I don't know what you think, Lord H.
Well, it's one of the things, I mean, I remember Mr. Jones, again, it's going to sound like I'm not backing Mr. Jones, because there's another thing I'm going to disagree with him for the moment. One of the main things that I came out with it pre-season, Mr. Jones saying how much he hated this league. I mean, of course, we all know why. I mean, they did do well with Cardiff, of course, and just came short of a couple of times going up there to the Premiership. And he said he hated this league and he wants it out as quick as possible. Now, being the optimistic chap I am, I thought, well, that's that then. We'll be Premiership next season. I must admit, I may have been holding on to the bandwagon ever so slightly, and I was very excited for this season. Again, we did say at the beginning of the season that it was fantastic, and I do believe that I myself likened it to playing FIFA with a cheat on. But at the same time, we did say at the beginning of the season what would happen if we stopped basically just outscoring teams. And obviously we were still flooding goals in at the back. And it never really got addressed. And again, I think we're all a bit guilty of riding the wave, Beast Joe Boy, especially when we've seen what's happened to Southampton and teams such as that just recently. I'm not afraid to say it. I thought we'd be there and thereabouts.
Yeah, but if you can't get excited at the start of a season, I don't care what happened the previous season, if you can't get excited at the start of a season about your prospects, then you really need to take up tennis or something, you know? Because this is in the game for you. We all know that as the season goes along, you start to get deflated, or you know, your journey goes up and down. You know, it's used all the time, and it's a roller coaster, and that's what it is. Right, but if right at the very beginning of the season, before that first ball's kicked, if you can't get excited about it, then you really don't want to be going to football. And if you can't get mega excited after a season like we had last season, then, blimey, there's no hope for any of us.
Absolutely.
I mean, I do take on board what Danny said, and it is a fair point, but I just think Milan would be. He's damned if he does and damned if he don't. There's no correct way to handle all that. You could look at it. They're playing it down now. They're playing it down up pitch now.
Definitely the time for the spin doctors over.
Well, let's put it this way: nobody's excited anymore, are they?
I don't know, basically. I don't know. I think after the Cardiff game and the shifts that the chaps put in, that maybe there's a glimmer of hope.
Well, yeah, but you're not thinking about promotion anymore, are you?
Absolutely. I think it was Mr. Keith Hill trying to G on the Barnsley fans, who said there were still 80-something points left towards the end of the season, and promotion is still on the cards. So, crikey, if Barnsley fans can be optimistic, then...
Yeah, but anybody that says club, like that bloke does, you know, at this football club, right? You can't take anybody serious that says that, do you? Every time, when we're driving home from game, me and Young, and that's all we listen for him saying club.
I've never seen a man that looks so much like he smells of whiskey.
I've got to be honest with you, I do quite like Keith Hill. He's, you know, he does look like the wrong side of a tramp's vest at times, but I do have a soft spot for him, even though he does say club.
The Wednesday week Advent calendar.
Ooh, what's behind this door? It's Fudge talking about something he loves.
Miguel Yera's hair. Now, I was born back in 1980, hence me hitting puberty through the 90s and taking part in a haircut that what was known in some parts as the centre parting, or as I had it back in Yorkshire in the mid-90s, the undercut, which is essentially just a mohawk that was centre parted, or in some other parts it was also known as the bum head. Now, we all have this air, and I look back now on the 90s quite fondly, especially in terms of Sheffield Wednesday, and I genuinely love the 90s. So, Miguel Yera, thank you for taking me back to my childhood with your 90s Bill and Ted hair. Swoon!
So, Beastie, let's crack on. Bristol City.
Yeah, don't call them Bristol. Right? But you know my young'un will go mad. Right? She thinks they deserve the same courtesy that we want when they call us Sheffield on the telly. Right? None of us like that. We want to be called Sheffield Wednesday. We don't want to be associated with the other lot. So let's call them Bristol City.
Oh, actually, just before we crack on to that, just a small point. We did have a song at the end of last week's podcast. It was rather a late entry, which is why we didn't do it as a show as your chance. But it must be said that the author of that song was your younger Beastie.
It was, and what made us laugh even more was when we were listening to the podcast going down to Cardiff.
You listened to your own podcast?
Well, just this little bit, because we were singing that song on the way to the game.
Fair enough.
And you had a little bit of a Keith Hill moment, I think.
Did you think?
Yeah, because you called Jeremy Dawson Jeremy Dawson.
Well, as I said, it was after the fact, Beastie. I think I was just relaxing with maybe a bottle of Pimm's or two. But again, Mr. Dawson did do a fantastic job, and we would like to publicly thank the chap as well for giving up his time to record the fantastic song. I think both myself and Mr. Beastie there rather shied away from Mrs. Bush's rather high notes, shall we say.
I did try.
Yeah, sorry. So Bristol City coming up, and as we said earlier, Beastie, it's got to be a winner.
It has. There's no two ways about it. I've said that he's got the next two games, but you never know if the game on Saturday against Bristol City turns out to be a really bad game. He may not even have two games because you can bet your bottom dollar that should we lose on Saturday, the noise around Hillsborough will be all booing, and it will not be a pleasant place to be. But having said that, I fully expect us to win, and I expect us to win convincingly. There's no reason why we shouldn't. They're getting beaten pretty regular. They were beaten last week, I think, by Wolves 4-1 at home. So unless they're like us, where they prefer playing away from home, we've got to make the most of it. And if, like we said before, if the Wednesday players put a shift in like they did at Cardiff, there's absolutely no reason at all why we shouldn't trounce Bristol City. And if we don't, then I want to know why.
Well, again, it does seem that the not just Mr. Jones, but the players took some of the criticism on board. And, of course, again, Mr. Fudge and yourself have spoken about the Cardiff game, but there was a couple of standout performances, Beastie. Mr. Taylor had a belting game. This is going to sound awfully wrong, but it's nice to see a player bleeding for the cause, shall we say. I also listened to an interview with Mr. Taylor on Radio Sheffield this week. First time I've really heard him speak properly. Ever such a jolly chap, Beastie. Bound along, saying that Mr. Jones has definitely got the dressing room, that everybody's behind him, and they do know how important the Bristol City game is. Again, nice to see Mr. Prutton in there. I understand Mr. Bothroyd's injured, but do you think he'll be a stayer in the middle of there? Basically, an old head directing the young chaps about?
Yeah, I wouldn't change anything about that team from Cardiff. From the moment Sidibe went off, I would keep it exactly as it was. Whether Bothroyd's back ready or not, I'm not like most Wednesday fans. I don't have a problem with Jay Bothroyd. If he's fit, he's a good player. But I wouldn't have him in because we played so much better in that Cardiff game without him. Same with Sidibe. I don't have a problem with Sidibe, but it's no different to Medine. Let's have Medine in. And I mean, Martin Taylor is becoming a big favourite with me because the last 3 or 4 games he's played, or the last three games he started, he's arguably been man at match. I like everything he is about. When he talks, like you say, he talks sense. He's not a young lad. He's been around. He knows the game, right? Let's get behind him, Wednesday fans. Forget the first couple of games. Gardner were poor when he first started, even though I championed him, and the rest of them on podcast said he were rubbish, right? Right. Let them have a couple of bad games. They're settling in now. To me, oh God, I said it again. To me,
you.
Oh dear. To me, he is. He's a good player. He's a good captain, and I think he's going to be a good asset to this club. I've gone crazy.
I think it was I don't know if it was a notable absence. Mr. Gardner obviously wasn't playing against Cardiff as well. Boy, do we know any news? Will he be back for the Bristol game? Bristol City game, sorry.
No, I don't. I'm pretty sure he won't be back for Saturday. But if he is, it gives Dave Jones a bit of a selection problem.
Absolutely.
Because he will play Gardner whenever he's fit, but that's beyond doubt. So then it's going to be between Taylor or Liera, who's going to make the team. And to me, it would be Taylor every time.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, Mr. Lyons seems to be finding his feet again. It was very, very nice to see. One thing we have really struggled with was when those balls were coming in at Cardiff, the crosses coming in, even the corners coming in, getting them away. And one of the chaps that were really knocking those out was Mr. Lyons there, using his head on those corners. Nothing was to be getting past him.
Well, on one of the occasions, he didn't use his head. He used his little lines as the ball hit full pelt right into the little lines. And to be fair to him, he got straight back up, did the lad. So whatever they're made of, it's good stuff.
Absolutely. All right, my lover. Again, you mentioned Bristol there, Beastie.
No, I didn't.
No, you mentioned Bristol City. Beastie. Again, obviously, earlier I mentioned the financial trouble. I mean, obviously, as Wednesday fans, we know how that can affect a club. Do you think it's at that point at the moment where it really is affecting what's on the pitch?
We know from past experience it does have an effect on what's happening on pitch, because players don't know whether they're coming or going, and when you've got £14 million worth of losses, that's going to have a massive effect. And I mean, a lot of football fans who are my sort of age will remember when Bristol City had a problem. I think it was in its 70s when they were in financial dire straits and they had to rewrite contracts for players and all sorts. I can't see the players back then agreed to do it, and they worked for a lot less. But if they hadn't done, then the club would have folded. I can't see that happening now. I can't see football.
You must be joking over.
Well, not in the Championship. Not at that sort of level. I mean, they did something similar at Plymouth, I think, which warms your heart to know that it does still go on, but certainly not at this level when they're earning so much money. I can't see that happening again, and it's got to have a knock-on effect. It's got to do. I mean, I'm looking online now, and it says on the 29th of November in 2011, Bristol City announced 11 million pounds worth of losses for that year. And now they're announcing 14.4 million losses for this last year. So it's not going away. And they're not known for getting big crowds, apart from when we go, obviously. So it's not looking good for them. Don't get me wrong, I'd never ever want to see any club go bust. I don't care who it is, whether it's them down the road or the unclean ones from West Yorkshire. Right? It's all, at the end of the day, regardless of how much they give off an odour and we don't like them, right? Their fans are just like us, slightly dirtier, clean, but you know, we're all football fans together, and I won't want Bristol City to fold, not by any stretch of the imagination.
Absolutely. I mean, when you think about how close we came to being without a club, BC, we know what it's like, and it's not a nice time. Not a nice time at all. At the same point, if it's going to affect him on the pitch, fair dues. Mr. Jones has got a job to keep. So, Beastie, I'm just whizzing around. Is there any other Wednesday news for this week?
Well, do you not want a prediction?
No. Shall we have a drum roll first of all? Jeeves, drum roll, old boy.
You said drum roll, didn't you? This is the old Jeremy Johnson thing again.
I'm going to stop drinking.
I said drum roll.
Beastie, can we have a prediction, please?
Well, that's all fine and jangy. You people with your upper class voices.
My fancy evening voice, old boy.
Yeah, well, you sound Jim. You jump. You can have a prediction of me. And I will say 4-1 to Wednesday.
4-1 to
Not only that, I'm confident. I'm really, really confident. In fact, I'm going to have a look at the odds for 4-1 to Wednesday. It's not that good, actually, for 4-1. We're 33-1. I know that sounds a lot, especially if you're not a betting person, but really, to win 4-1, 33-1 is not good odds. So we are expected to beat them, but, you know, they're only just have a 2-1 to beat us.
Well, again, I mean, looking back at the record here, Beastie, let's have a little look here. Again, I mean, they did have that rather good win against Middlesbrough, away at Middlesbrough, a team that were flying high in the Championship at the moment. I mean, it does look to be somewhat of a freakish win for them. They've not been doing terribly well. So, I mean, basically, as you say, it's going to be an interesting game, and it is one that we should comfortably win.
Well, come 5 o'clock on Saturday, I'll be queuing up the bookies to pick up my £330 because my 10 will have won. So there you go. And I expect, because I've just given this fail-safe, bulletproof bet, that there'll be a massive queue there. So if you see me, let me go to front.
Follow the Beastie. So, 4-1 it is, and Beastie, I'm going to go for a nice, comfortable 2-0 Wednesday win. Nice, comfortable 2-0 Wednesday win. Get the Wednesdayites back on our side.
The Wednesday week advent calendar.
Out, I say! I'm in the Lordly Buff! Get out! Of course, we would like to thank once again everybody for listening. Again, we would like to pass on our very best wishes to Mr. Beavers. Tally ho, boy, you've been an absolute superstar. Beastie, if people want to follow your bits and bobs, where can they get hold of you, old boy?
They can get hold of me at hashtag Fudge is a part-timer or hashtag Fudge sits in the away end because he's a great big girl. Or at Beaste_, or of course owlsalive.com.
At owlsalive.com, there is a video on this week's ramble that you've popped over there, Beastie, of you and your young'uns singing the Wandering Wednesday song.
Yeah, me, Holly, and Danny singing it in the car on the way there. It's nowhere near as good as JFD's version, but it's us at its best, which isn't very best.
So pop over there, and of course, if you're not a reader of Mr. Beastie's Ramble, there's definitely something wrong with you. Of course, you can get hold of our other chaps, Fudge. You can get hold of Fudge over there at Fudge and Dave over there on Twitter, and of course Eddie at Sausage Arms over there on Twitter as well. You can follow the podcast at TWWcast again over there on Twitter, and of course for all the other ways you can get in touch, you can pop over to the website www.thewednesdayweek.com. If you want to listen to my nonsense, you can always pop over and see me over there at Twitter at Lord_H. That's L0RD_H, and you can follow me along there on Twitter. And if you would like to send us any correspondence, like the Mr. Jarvis and Mr. Danny have done this week, by all means, please do, and we shall get your questions for the Oracle, Mr. Beastie, on the show. So, Beastie,
come and join us if you want to. If you unlike Danny, who when I asked him if he wanted to come, he said he wasn't brave enough. If you're not a girl like Danny, then come on the show and make one in with us.
Absolutely. And of course, even if you wouldn't like to come on the show, if you don't want to record a question for us and send it to us by email, by all means, please do feel free. So, Beastie, let's have a big goodbye from the Beastmeister.
Goodbye, and remember, it's the season of goodwill.
Bar humbug.
Ching, 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 ching.
My word. And again, thank you awfully for listening to us. It's been an absolute pleasure as always, and we shall see you very soon.
Keepers in there, they were in trouble, saving that.
The winner!